Welcome to B.A.Showoff, the Dance Lifestyle Podcast.
Whether you're a parent, a dance coach, or a dancer yourself, this is the show for you.
We're your hosts. My name is Becky.
And I'm Alexandra. And today we're going to be showing off Kaitlyn Conley.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're happy to have you. So Kaitlyn, can you tell us a little bit about your background in dance and how your journey started?
Yes. So I kind of have background in dance in a couple different areas. So I started off in the studio world. I was a big studio kid. I started dancing when I was 2, just was obsessed with it since I was little. I was like that kid that at 2 and 3 years old, I knew that I wanted to dance, which sounds insane, but I would just copy Barney and Barbie on TV. And then that's how my mom was like, I think she's a dancer. We're going to take her to dance class. And so from then, I just was very serious about it. I started competing when I was 7. I would go to about 15 competitions a year from when I was about probably 9 years old all the way up to, I stopped competing when I was 17 actually, but just my whole life, very, very serious about dancing. I won jump when I was 16. I won the senior division when I was 16. And so I got on contract with them and started touring with them.
What year was that?
So that was 2008 is when I won. Wow. So I was 16 years old, so I was like in my first year in the senior division, and so then the owner of Break the Floor was like, I want you to get on contract and I want you to tour with us every single weekend. So I toured with them. It was 35 weekends a year.
Oh, wow.
So I was in school, and then I was touring with them every single weekend, which I loved. I was obsessed with it. I was so, it was the coolest experience.
Who did you assist?
I assisted every teacher in the senior division. So at the time, it was Mandy Moore, it was Teddy Forrence, it was Dee Caspery, Misha Gabriel, who else? Kenny Wormold, Nick Bass, it was Kim McSwain, it was Nick Lazzarini, it was all of those.
All the heavy hitters.
All the yes.
How fun.
And it was so fun. I was obsessed with it. And then I did online school, and so from there, I was just kind of the face of jump, and so they had me not compete anymore, so I was with them all the time. From there, I graduated high school online, and then I got an agent. I was with Clear Talent Agency. I moved to LA and got a little experience in LA. I was doing a lot of shows that would build my resume. And then at the same time, when I was in LA doing lots of different shows, I also got a lot of that's kind of when I started to choreograph. And so I got a lot of choreography jobs. And so I would be flying to different states doing choreography. And then from there is when actually one of my friends who was on the Arizona State University dance team was like, Kaitlyn, you should totally try out for ASU's dance team. And at the time, which I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I was like, oh my gosh, no, I would never, I'm never doing dance team. And then long story short, I ended up flying to Arizona, and then, because my family was in Arizona, and then I tried out for ASU dance team, I made the team, and then I called my parents, and I'm like, so I think I'm going to move home, and I'm going to go to school. And then I started a dance team in college at Arizona State University, and then that's when my whole dance team career started. And so I started competing at UDA in 2000. I graduated in 2000. It was 2016, and right after I graduated, I started helping coach ASU. And so then I started helping coach ASU. I also choreographed for the dance team while I was on ASU, the jazz routine. And then from there, I actually won Worlds with them too in 2017 when ASU was Team USA. And then from there, I just started my whole dance team career of coaching a little bit and doing lots of choreography. Then from there, I got into the NBA world. So then I, long story short, basically got the head coaching position with the NBA Suns, the Phoenix Suns dancers. So I coached them for 4 seasons while I was simultaneously just teaching and doing master classes and still kind of in the dance team world and choreographing. And then now I live in Florida, and I still travel and choreograph, and then I'm also in the all-star world too. So I kind of do dance team, choreography for high schools and colleges, and then also for the all-star world, all-star dance team world.
It's so funny because I have such memories of when you were young, didn't even know you.
That's so crazy.
And remember going to jump and taking Alexandra when she was young and competing and seeing you on stage and be like, oh my gosh, she's so good.
I remember, I remember from when I was little. I think that you were I know that you were in the senior category when I think I was finishing my junior category, or like I just started in teens. And I remember it was so cool to like be able to watch you, and everybody knew who Kaitlyn Conley was.
That's so crazy. And it's so crazy because like I remember Miami when I was younger and all the amazing dances in Miami and dancers and dance studios and dance teams, and it's just so cool that like to be here with you guys everywhere.
Tell us a little bit about your dance team experience. So like you said, how you were mostly a studio kid and then you got into dance team. What really called you into the dance team world?
So at the time when I auditioned for dance team, luckily for me, the type of dancer I was in studio world was I was a big technician. So I had the technique that was going to be able to help me with the dance team world. So when I tried out for a dance team, that was like one of the first things I was like, oh wow, like I can do this, because I was that technical dancer growing up. So when they were, asking the whole entire team to do turns and all of these tricks, I was like, okay, I have this, I can do this. And then when I made ASU and I started going on like practicing with ASU, I think one of the things that was a huge difference, an eye-opener for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever, it's just the team aspect. Especially at the time, this was I made ASU in 2013, 14. And at the time, what I was used to with dance, at least from my experience with studio world, and I don't know if it's everyone's experience, with my experience, it was very catty, and it was very like, especially for me, I was always on big teams. I had like 15 dances of big teams in studio world, but it was very lonely in a way, because it was like everyone was kind of against each other, and especially if you were someone that did well at competitions, then it was like everyone was just kind of like talked about you or was against you, or it was not this like team aspect even in my own studio. And so then when I made a dance team, and then I would go to practice every day, and it was like everyone wanted the best for everybody. Everyone mattered so much within one team, and we were all into this together. And it just was something I had never experienced before. And I was like, this is such a breath of fresh air that we all are in this together. No one is catty. It's so much about teamwork. And that was like one of the biggest things. I was like, this is so cool. And also, I thought it was really cool that everyone was expected just the same out of each other. Like there wasn't like
a soloist. No, it's not about a soloist.
No, it's not about a soloist. Everyone's doing the same thing. Every single person matters. Every single person is so important. And you not working hard is going to let the next person down. And so I just love that family team dynamic that is not always in the studio world.
Yeah, which is cool because you were a huge soloist. Like you were successful as a soloist. Like you didn't need 20 other dancers to be successful. And that's cool that you experienced that and you saw you benefit from being with other people. And when you're a soloist like that, you're the one, you're helping pull other people up. The other dancers, they might struggle, but they're like, okay, I want to do better, and you're helping them do better. And I feel like that's something that dance team really, really pushes. And like I always talk about it with my kids and with parents, that's something you take with you later on in life, whether or not you're going to dance. Like that teamwork, that, building that kind of bond with people. You're going to work with a group of people, and it's never going to be just your work. Like you're going to work with other people, and you want to know how to do that, and you want to, know how to benefit from other people's, strengths and people's weaknesses and how you could help them. And I think that dance team really sets you up for that.
Oh, 100%. And I love that. I loved that about dance team. And it just was so exciting. I was like, wow, this is fun. It's fun, instead of like, oh my gosh, it's exhausting. And I mean, it's still exhausting and stressful, but it just had a totally different feel to it, that it was like addicting, it was so addicting.
And how many years did you guys go to UDA?
So for me, when I made ASU, we went every year that I was on the team. So I kind of had like an interesting situation. So when I tried out for ASU, I was actually junior, because I was doing college online. I just wasn't going to school. And then when I was on the team, I went to UDA for 3 years at nationals. And then I did Worlds too the next year. And at the time, ASU was really new to UDA. They'd only been going to UDA, I think, if I'm correct, I think it was the 5th year or 6th year that they had been going to UDA when I tried out for the team and made it.
And Worlds, how was that experience?
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. It was so exciting to be Team USA. That was like the coolest thing ever. And so actually I was coaching them. And then my coach at the time was like, hey, Kaitlyn, you didn't get to go to Worlds because my senior year at ASU was when they decided to not do jazz. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know why they did this, but my senior year was the year that they decided to not take jazz to Worlds. So, and we were very strong in jazz. And so the next year when ASU got picked to be Team USA, my coach was like, Kaitlyn, you never got an opportunity to go. We have to add more people to the jazz dance. Do you want to be one of the dancers?
Oh,
I'm like,
cool.
oh my gosh, yes. So I was coaching them, so I kind of knew the dance anyways.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. It was like the coolest experience to compete against other countries and meet other people. And it had a different dynamic than Nationals has. It was a little bit less competitive and intense, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We still wanted our dance to be amazing, and we still knew that we'd have eyes on us, but it had a little bit more like a stress-free feel.
I feel like it's a little bit more of like an honor to be able
Yes.
to go and even represent versus
Yes.
like we need to go to win
right
for Team USA.
Yes,
It's funny because
yeah.
that's something that I've never done. I've never
Really?
done Worlds.
Oh my gosh.
I've never I've never gone through the process. I've never because
would
for
love
me
it.
it's just, February comes and I'm like, oh, I get to breathe. And just to
Yeah.
think to have to start all over again and
I
get ready and
know.
stuff. So last year is the first year that I was like, maybe I should do it.
You should totally
So,
do it.
it's in the back of my mind to maybe
Do it before you retire,
before I
for sure.
retire.
Yes, you should totally do it.
That'll put years on her for sure.
Yeah, because the month of January I aged 10 years.
Oh
easy.
my gosh.
So
It's
I can't imagine doing that, a little
I
bit longer.
know. Some people take a break. I feel like a lot of people, like after nationals, they'll take like a 2 weeks break or something like that, and then you go again, which it is exhausting. But at the end of the year, it's just like something you have to do. You have to do it.
No, just every time that we're around that, it's like April, right? It's around I think
April.
of every year. I'm like, oh my god, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, by that
Going
point,
through this again.
by that
I
point, I
know.
feel like we're already prepping for like our team
Yeah,
for
for the
next
following
year.
year.
I know.
It's so far into
But
the year.
it is such a cool experience, and
Yeah.
it's something that I think every team, if they have the opportunity to do it, should do it. And it's something that I gotta check off my bucket list. So let's see
Yes.
when I finally get the nerve to do it.
You guys have to do it. You'll love it.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to. I got to figure that out. So tell us a little bit about your professional, like once you graduated from college and what you did with that, because I think that a lot of people don't understand that there's so much you can do with dance after high school and after college.
So for me, which is crazy, like I never thought I would go this route. I always thought that I would like go to LA or New York and then just be a dancer on Broadway or be a dancer in music videos or just different shows in LA. So what I did is I did a lot of it when you go out there is like resume building. So I ended up doing a lot of different just random shows for different choreographers out there as I was building my resume to get these big jobs. And then for me is when like choreography really just like got me to where I am today is when I started to choreograph. So I was choreographing for just different dance teams and studios at the time in the country, in Canada, in Costa Rica, and Greece actually. And then that is when, in master classes, and then that is when it led me to my dance team career and then my coaching career, and kind of the same thing. I never thought that I would be an NBA dance team coach ever. I was like never thinking I would do that, and I kind of got the job through one of my students was like, they're looking for a new head coach for the NBA Suns. Do you want to apply? So then I applied, and when I got the job, again, it was like something I never thought I would do, but I learned so much from it, and I learned so much from just that professional world of choreographing. I got to choreograph for the NBA playoffs and NBA finals, which is something I was like never thought I would do. I was their coach, so what I would do is I would choreograph for them, help them just basically be like the artistic director of my dance team for the NBA finals, which again, I was like, this is insane. Like all these basketball players that like my brother and my dad would watch when I was younger, that I'm just like with like LeBron James, and I'm telling my dancers to like make sure that they look out for him and make sure they don't hit them while they're doing their choreography was like just so wild to me. But it was something that I never thought I would do, and dance gave me. And I think that's one of the cool things about dance is you just get into situations and environments that you never thought you would be in. When I was on ASU, actually, I danced for the Super Bowl. So we got asked to be the pregame show and the halftime show for the Super Bowl when it was in Arizona.
Oh, cool.
So we did actually our normal Arizona State pregame that we do at football games. We did that, and I choreographed it actually.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
cool.
and so we did that on the Super Bowl field. So again, like my dad, who's me and my brother, you know, growing up like watching, it was like Tom Brady. It was I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2016, the Super Bowl, if that's right. And so we did our pregame, my choreography on the Super Bowl field, which is crazy to think about. And then we danced with Katy Perry, actually, win her Super Bowl. You guys remember that one?
Yes, I do.
I was in that. So we did that, which again, like, I would never think that I would do that, especially like on ASU's dance team at the time. But yeah, dance just, there's so many different routes you can do. A lot of my friends are just, you know, on Broadway or in LA dancing. You can be a choreographer, which a choreographer's career is longer and gives you a lot of different opportunities. And then there's the whole dance team thing, which I think is really cool because when I was younger, I didn't know, well, it's completely evolved. But when I was younger, I didn't have anyone telling me that you can go to school and you can do something that you have been training at your whole entire life, and you can do it simultaneously. And I think now I tell so many dancers that were my age, like, you can go to school and be on a very, very good dance team, because the dance team, like collegiate world, has just evolved so much. And so there's just so much that you can do out there, whatever you love.
And some dancers choose, like, they don't want to go straight to college. They want to dance first. And
yes.
There's so many opportunities that you could go straight to college, or you could decide, I want to start dancing. I don't want to give up college. I do my college online, but start dancing. There's so many opportunities. You could dance for a professional, team. You could dance, in LA. You could do commercial world. And there really is so many routes that you could take. And people don't realize that. They don't see like the big picture of how much there really is for them.
And I feel like a lot of choreographers now in the industry are also moving into dance team now too. So now you're also able to build connections and a network when you're on a dance team with a lot of these choreographers, master teachers.
Yes.
Because you're able to work with them.
For people who don't know, can you go over the world process a little bit? Because some people don't know about worlds and what a big deal that is. They don't realize that the teams, what they go through to get into it. So can you go over a little bit what that experience was and what you guys had to do in order to get to Worlds?
Yes. So I don't know too much about like the behind the scenes of the time, but I know for Worlds, and it may be a little bit different now, but at the time we had to submit our routine from nationals to the Worlds Committee Board. And then from there, they decided on who would be Team USA. And I'm pretty sure we found out in maybe it was February or March, and then at the time we had to add more people to our routine, and then we also had to make our dance longer. So especially from, like you were saying earlier, just how like when you have a full season, you just got done with nationals and you're so exhausted, you're still doing basketball games for your school. And so then we had maybe like a 1 to 2 week break, and then from there we just started doing extra practices to make our dance longer. I think we had to add like 6 girls in the dance, including myself, and then keep practicing. And then from there we went to Worlds in April in Orlando, and then we competed against, I think there was about 76 different, if I remember correctly, 76 different countries there performing.
That was my next question. How many countries were there? And
I can't remember how many were in our division, but I remember hearing like 76 countries.
Yeah, it's
there,
like a mini Olympics.
Amazing.
It's
yes.
like, like you're doing Olympics for like dance.
Yes.
And it's so cool.
Yes, it was so cool. And just even being there, I remember there was this thing that everyone would have like something from your country. I think we had like little tiny American flags, and then you would walk around and you would like give them to like Japan or like Australia. You would exchange these little tiny gifts, and it was so cute and so nice, and everyone was so
together.
Sweet. Yeah, it was just so sweet and cool. And then when we did our dance, I remember there was like this big American flag when we walked out. I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's just so funny. Like it was just like a very nice, touching moment.
It's
like
surreal.
It is surreal. Yeah. Oh, and then when we won, like the national anthem went, you know, we're just like on stage with this big American flag, like singing the national anthem. It was really cool.
I feel like that would be like so emotional.
Yeah, it made you emotional, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm crying to the national anthem right now at ESPN, you know, on stage in my like little, you know, contemporary lyrical outfit with my turning shoe.
So cool.
Yeah.
I can't imagine just like sitting up there dancing in front of the whole, like literally in front of the world.
Yeah.
Like the world is actually there to come and watch you.
Yeah.
And you're representing. That must have been really cool.
And it's cool too because a lot of countries like love to see the United States routines, and they're really supportive. So it just was cool to see other countries just think that the U.S. was just so great at the sport, you know? It was really cool. Like, I just remember when we did our dance, like, all the other countries that were competing came in to watch us.
Oh, nice.
You know? Yeah. And that was really cool.
That was supportive.
Yeah, very supportive and just sweet.
Which that's something that I love about dance team is that it is supportive. Like you go to a dance team competition and teams are there supporting each other and, you know, saying good luck and like, you know, they want to watch. Parents from other schools will watch. Whereas like a studio competition, it's like you compete and, you know, you've got a couple people watching you. Like you don't have that. Like, who are you dancing for? It's like you're just dancing to get judged.
I know.
Where at, you know, dance team, like you have an audience. Like there are people there that they're rooting for you, they're cheering for you. It's
and
you know,
people
it's very
just
different.
go for fun too. Because there's people who like who don't have anybody there dancing. You know, they don't have kids there. They don't have any of that, but they just want to go because that event is just so cool.
Yeah, which is another reason when we were talking about how one of the reasons why I love dance team. When I went to my first UDA College Nationals. Everyone said they're like it's like something you've never seen before, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been to so many dance team competitions, like all over the place. I'm sure it's not gonna be that big of a deal. It is so different and it is so cool, especially the first time you go. And I remember thinking like, there's so many families here. There's so many. It just has this such a college sports type of vibe to it. Very, very supportive. That I just thought was so cool because it's so cool to see people who are not dancers be so supportive of what we're doing.
Well, and the college is so cool because the cheerleaders are there and you've got like the cheer team, they'll come and they'll cheer you on and they have like the school, you know, song playing and the alumni, and it's just like you feel the school's energy, like you're in the school colors and you know exactly what school that is and everybody's like cheering for that, like, and it's just such an amazing feeling. I love college nationals.
Too.
To me, there's nothing like it.
And it's so funny because, I mean, I know that she does it too. We obviously coach high school teams, but we take our kids to go and watch. Yeah. And now we'll have parents coming to watch these colleges. And, like, we'll have, like, dads come and they're like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Exactly. Even my dad. Like, my dad and my brother, they were just so over dancing. That's why as I got older. And they're like, I'm not going to another dance competition. I can't do it. I can't take it. I'm so sorry, Kaitlyn. I'm not coming. But then for college, they were like, this is really cool.
Yeah,
this is like
it's like the world. Super Bowl.
Yes. Yeah.
It really is. And I mean, I get so excited for college every year, but I think that there's been so much hype in the past couple of years, but last year Minnesota and Ohio made such a huge impact.
I know.
That everybody, like people that don't have anything to do with dance team, are talking about it and want to see it, and they're like waiting to see what are they going to do this year. And now it's exciting. It's like they've opened the door to like people to see like this is an amazing event. This is a great sport that it's kind of been pushed aside for so many years that now they're finally, you know, I'm very grateful that they've done that because I've been a part of this for so many years and it's never been like this.
And it's something you can honestly thank TikTok for.
Yeah, for real.
Because that's really how they became well known by non-dancers.
Right.
And you'll hear non-dancers talking about, you know, the Ohio State throwing their jackets and Minnesota's turns came out in a commercial. Like there's crazy. So many like things that are now popular in the dance world that have transitioned into just the everyday world.
Yeah, I feel like it's more appreciated and it's just more like respected, like in a way, which I hate saying that, but I feel like when I was younger, I remember people would be like, oh, dancing's not that hard. Like non-dancers would be like, that's not that hard. Like they just didn't understand how much work was put into it. And then now, for whatever reason, I'm not really sure why, but I feel like people are really looking at it and being like, wow, this is something that is a sport and it's really difficult to do, and it's just cool to see non-dancers appreciate it.
Well, I think that a lot of it too is that and not to speak against studio at all, but I think the biggest difference between studio and dance team is that studio does introduce a lot of like artistry. We want to, you know, show the different artistic movement, where dance team has become a lot more athletic. And you have 2 minutes to show your full athleticism.
Right.
And not that dances in studio world can't be that, or that dance teams can't have artistry to them too. There should be a mesh, but I think that people started really acknowledging dance and dance team once they started seeing the athletic side of it.
Exactly, which is why, like, I'm from studio world, so like I am a studio dancer, and I love that merge that's happening. But sometimes, I don't know how if you guys feel this way, but sometimes I'm a little nervous that it's gonna maybe become too studio like later on, because like something like exactly what you said, the athleticism that makes it so well respected. I hope that doesn't go away. Like, I really hope it doesn't.
Me too.
Because I love the artistry, and I think that you can do both, but I don't want the artistry to come in and take away like what's so amazing about dance team, and then it just turn into this whole big another just studio competition, and like later down the road it's just gonna be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that dance team, what it has, it's such a clean dance. Like, when you watch it, everybody, you know, knows that they have to be so clean, so crisp. You appreciate the movement.
Yeah.
So the artistry could be there.
Yeah.
But it can't be the only thing. Like, and in a dance team that it's only 2 minutes on stage, everybody has to be able to do everything. You know, there's only so much that you could do in 2 minutes. You got to show everything off. Whereas in a studio, one person could be dancing on the stage and doing like all this beautiful movement, and then 5 people come on and add on, and 10 people could come on and do something else. It's just totally different. I don't think that, you know, there's, and not that it doesn't merge, but I can't imagine that dance team would leave what it does, because it's just so unique.
I hope not. I hope it doesn't. And I feel like it's made it to where it's easier to judge. You know, it's easier to say like, not who was the better team, because it's not about that, but just like, what is this team doing on stage? And every single dancer is doing that. Like, what is the difficulty there? Not that it can't be artistic as well. As a dancer, you should be able to do both. You should be able to be artistic and like move through your, like, just really dance through your emotions and your movement, as well as having training. Like,
well, and I think that when exactly what you're saying, that when judging these dancers in a studio competition, it's a lot more subjective.
Yeah,
it's a lot more opinions versus in dance team. It's very by the book. It's are you clean? Is your technique correct? You know, choreography, visuals, things like that, formations, all of that. So it brings in a lot more fairness, in the sense that we understand why you won, we understand why why you scored higher. And when it comes to the studio competitions, it can be a little bit more subjective. Yeah. And scores can be all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, judging's going to be subjective to a certain degree. I mean, every judge, you know, we're human.
Right.
You're going to have preference. I like that style a little bit better than I like that.
Right.
It is what it is. But at the end of the day, in a dance team, it's very clear, you know, all the things that you have to do and you need to do in order to be the winning team. And
Kaitlyn, so I know that you've worked a lot in choreography and a lot of different kinds of choreography. How do you feel that in choreographing for dance teams that it's helped you evolve as a choreographer?
Oh my gosh. It has helped me, I mean, in different ways. Definitely with visuals and formations. I remember when I first started choreographing, I was fine with movement and creating like combos, but choreographing for a lot of different dancers on stage with different things happening, but also trying to make sure they all complement each other. And then with dance team, learning that everything is a puzzle piece and people can't really cross over, and there's lots of different rules to make sure it all looks cohesive. That I've learned so much from my, like, I don't even know if I want to see the first dance team like piece I've ever choreographed a long time ago. I would be like, wow, that's horrible. It's horrible, Kaitlyn.
Well, and it's fun because I had the privilege of being able to bring you on this year to choreograph for my JV. And I remember just sitting there watching and just like watching your brain work. And I was like, that's so like at one point I even remember sitting there and we were talking about like, you know, should this person go here or here? And then I remember you even said like, do you want them to go here? I can make them go there. And it was like a whole path that they would have to go, and you just figured it out so seamlessly.
Thank you.
And it's so interesting being able to sit back and watch a dance team choreographer, because it really is that. You have to have that distinguished dance team choreographer versus studio choreographer versus solo choreographer. But being able to watch a dance team choreographer and their brain and figuring out how to just move everything and everyone and make it a visual at the same time.
Everybody can do that. That's a gift you have.
It is.
Thank you. That's so nice. And I think that's something too that like when I came in the dance team world, that's another thing that I just was like, that is so cool. I've never seen that before. Because studio, it's not like that. Everyone can cross over. It doesn't have to be a pattern. There doesn't have to. There's not like rules. You can do whatever you want.
And you could like shuffle to a spot.
Yeah, you can go off stage for like 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
You can stand still in the back.
Yeah.
You could have dancers just standing there and not moving and drop on the floor and be there with no problem.
Actually, one of my dances was improv, and it was a group dance. And we just went on stage, and our teacher just told us the song before we went on stage, and we improv'd, and we could do whatever we wanted. And it won. Like at Studio World, and that's not a thing in dance team, obviously.
Oh, never.
No, that's the scariest thing that if I could ever think of telling one of my dance teams just go on stage and improv.
Oh my God, that's my worst nightmare.
I know. But that is something too that I saw when I came to the dance team world, I was like, that is so interesting. That's so like it just made me respect the sport even more. You know, like these choreographers and dance teams are just, you know, not only are they working on movement and technique, but it's also all of these formations and making sure it's seamless. Like I just think that's another whole amazing part of dance team that is just a reason why it should be so well respected. You know?
Yeah. So dance team has changed a lot in the past. I mean, since I've been doing it, it's changed a lot. But even from when you were on team, a lot has changed. And I think that a lot, it's more technical. I think there is a little bit more artistry in it. I think you know, it's not, people have this vision that dance team is like drill and it's, you know, very like, you know, everybody walk over here, everybody like, you know, stand with your hands behind your back. And they have that image that that's what dance team is, and it's not.
No.
There's a lot that goes to it. And I think that parents, they need to understand that, you know, their dancer could still be in a studio and they could be in a dance team and they're going to benefit from it. They're going to do great, you know, in their dance future and in their college. But how have you seen that the dance studio, the dance team world, how they've changed, how they've merged together, how things have adjusted since you were in college?
So, when I was in college, I was in Arizona, so I don't know how it was here, but definitely, like, when I was in college, the studio world and the dance team world were so separate. Like, the studio, to be honest, like, the studio owners did not like the dance team, and the dance team coaches did not like the studio owners because they were taking their kids from each other, and they were missing practices and games. And really what's happened is it's completely evolved, and the whole worlds are merging, and really, like, the best dancer now is the dancer who does both, if you can. Because you're getting amazing training from your studio, you're learning the artistry, you're getting amazing technique, but then you're getting athleticism from the dance team world, and practice and games. And so it's really creating this, like, athletic, technically sound, versatile dancer, and it's helping the dance team coach because the girls are getting the really, really good training from the studio, and it's also helping the studio owners and teachers because they're getting like this strong athleticism, team player type of mentality dancer. And I think that's like the most well-rounded dancer that you could have, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then as far as the actual dance teams and choreography, I feel like, so when I was competing on dance team, it was 2014 to 16, 17, and it was more, not that it's still super technical now, but it just was a little bit like the style was more clean cut. There was not as much artistry in it. Like even the movement was a little bit, I don't want to say, at least what I was doing, it was a little bit more cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And now like there's just so much more room to be able to do more innovative choreography that's not so clean lines the whole entire time, but like has more grit to it and like more substance to what you're doing, as well as having that technical element to it. And the tricks have just become insane too.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that teams are doing now is crazy.
Yeah,
like
it really
crazy.
is. I mean, to the point that sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this is like risking getting injured big time.
Know,
you know, it's a little scary.
I know.
But I think that the dancer benefits so much.
Oh yeah.
And as a parent, you know, it's worth it.
Oh, it's so worth it.
You know, because your kid is really getting such a well-rounded dance experience. Being on the team, you're like part of that school spirit, you're part of a group, you're part of a team, you've got friends, and then being in the studio, you've got the training, and you know, at a certain point, it does get a little stressful, you know, having to like, I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, I have this weekend, I have this, and the following weekend something else. But I mean, as a parent, I loved that
Yeah.
my daughter was dancing. I loved when she was on dance team and the studio, and I loved that she always had something, that it wasn't like she was stuck at home just watching TV.
I know.
Or, you know, going out to parties or like stuff like that. She was so like involved in something that she was busy. She was keeping herself in shape. She was keeping herself busy. She had friends.
Yeah.
I loved
me.
it.
Yeah. I totally agree. If I, like, when I have kids, and they want to dance, I definitely would put them in both. Like, I would not isolate them, because at Studio World, really in studio, you don't have that school, like, you're just constantly removed from school because you always have to be at dance, you know, and you don't have that school spirit, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Which is just the best of both worlds, being able to have the school spirit, being able to be involved in school, but also still doing something that you love, and it being good and good training, you know?
Yeah, and I think that it's also good to put your kid into both, because it gives them the opportunity to figure out what they want to do after high school.
Exactly.
You know, do I want to continue going down the dance team route, being involved in my school, or do I want to take the more artistic route? Do I want to go into company, or do I want to go into the professional industry and commercial dance? But it allows them the opportunity to try a little bit of everything.
Exactly.
And figure out what they want to do moving forward.
Exactly. It doesn't like cut them off, like doesn't limit them to one route, you know, which is the biggest thing that you can do for your kids now as like a parent, and even just as a teacher, is make sure that they're well-rounded so that whatever they do get into, they're prepared for that. And especially college dance team now, a lot of coaches want to see dancers who are not just on dance team at school, who are not just studio, but have both of that, you know?
You know, they want to see your extracurricular, but they want to see you involved in school.
Yeah.
And being part of your dance team, that is huge when you're applying for colleges. And you know, they don't care that you got 75, you know, competition solos trophies.
No.
They want to see that you are part of a group and a part of your school and involved.
Yeah, like it's so easy.
It's you know, it's like you're having a conversation with your friend and just talking about, like, oh my God, let's talk more about dance.
I know. Even my fiance, he's like new to this whole dance thing. He just didn't have, like, he had a sister who did cheerleading, but dancing is just different. You know, you stay up till 3 a.m. talking about one dance. You know, forever.
Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I'm at competition, I don't sleep.
I know.
I get back to the room and I'm watching videos and we're like talking about that video. Did you see that? And rewind, and you just like get obsessed with it. It's a little crazy.
And that's another thing with dance team, I feel like, which is really cool. I mean, there's so many reasons why I just like became obsessed with it, but it's one dance for the most part. I mean, or 3.
Yeah.
But like with studio, there's like 17. Like I had 17 dances growing up.
That's crazy.
So it's like with that one dance in this division, or you have 3 now or 2, it just becomes addicting because you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. It just feels like there's not so many ways for you to win and so many different things. It's just like it's one shot, you know?
And you're perfecting that one thing. It's like, I can't move on until it's perfect. It's got to look so perfect.
And you're watching the same dance over and over again. So you find something different each time and you're like, oh my God, I need to fix this. I need to fix that. And it really is.
Yeah, you become obsessed, and because you're putting that's that one piece. It's like one dance. It's got to look perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I do love that you know, you're limited. Like you can't do 75 categories.
Right. Me too.
There's just no need for that.
I know.
Yeah.
I think, and then I wonder if there will be like another category. I wonder if they're just gonna like keep.
I've
going.
always thought that they were gonna put at some point lyrical contemporary.
No, because I think
jazz.
that's when it's gonna mesh too much.
So
I think that it leaves it too open.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
I mean, tap.
It's hard.
Oh gosh.
It's hard to compare
Cody's
like a
dance
jazz routine to a lyrical routine.
I do agree with that.
That's always been.
It is
to me,
hard.
I didn't understand it.
No, so that's, to me, that's the hard part. But like we were saying, in dance team, you got to hit all the marks. So are your formations clean?
Mm-hmm.
Are you artistic? Are you athletic? Are you clean? Are you this or that? So you know, I guess that's the way they do it. But it is really hard, like when you've got like this really jazz routine to a beautiful, lyrically contemporary dance.
Yeah.
Comparing the two is
It's really
easy.
hard.
I still vote for tap.
Tap.
So Kaitlyn, next weekend is College Nationals. We're obviously not releasing this episode for a little while, but what are you most excited about?
Wow. I'm excited, but I'm stressed. It's the most stressful weekend. I always say, like, college nationals is so stressful. High school nationals is exhausting.
I agree with that.
College, I'm so excited to see, obviously, like, Minnesota, Ohio, and all these amazing teams. I'm also really excited just to see, like, the regular public, how they react to everything. Because like we were saying, how non-dancers are getting so involved in it. I'm excited to see that, like, if people are still involved with it this time, and just to see the growth of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So I choreographed with Noah for FSU, and then I choreographed for UNO. It's University of Nebraska Omaha. Both jazz dances, so in jazz category. So I'm excited to see how they do.
FSU's D1. What's Nebraska?
FSU's D1A and then Nebraska's D1.
Okay.
So both those divisions, I'm excited just to see my choreography and to see how they do. Definitely stressed and nervous, but I'm just excited for the whole weekend. People don't realize too, like non-dancers, that like it's not just, and this is again so different than Studio World. It's not just you get in your outfit, you go backstage, and you go on the stage. Like
Right.
there's a whole process. So like each dance takes what, like 2 hours?
Yeah.
2.5.
And you need to like change your costume, but you have to mentally put yourself, prepare. You know, you might have to change hair, you might have to change, you know, your makeup. There might be your earrings. Like there might be something you have to like really worry about and change.
Yep.
And then you've got to change your mind frame because you just did a game day where you're like all like woo, all excited, and then now we're doing a contemporary lyrical jazz. That, you know, you're like, you know, your whole mood is different, and then you're gonna go into hip hop, which you have to. So people don't understand that you are like an emotional roller coaster, and then if somebody messes up, you know that's it.
Yeah.
You know, God forbid that you messed up, because then you're
Shut
in
down.
your own head the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So that's horrible. And you know, the other thing I don't like is when they do awards before you finish competing.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you
not
just
good.
kill people's spirits. Like,
Kill
you know, one team is happy, everybody else is.
Exactly.
So everybody else is like bummed, and now they have to go dance again. It's like all the awards should be at the end. Like,
I know.
let everybody, like, you know, see what everybody did, how well everybody did, applaud, and then it's over. Rather than awards now, let's move on, let's keep going now. And to me, it's just, it's tough.
That is
tough.
really tough.
And that's why you have to be, as a dancer, you know, you have to be physically strong, but you've got to have thick skin. You've got to mentally be, you know, super, you know, steady, because you're going to go through ups and downs, and you're going to have moments that, you know, you're super happy. You're going to have moments that you're like, you're down on yourself, or you know, you're not happy with what you did, and you've got to be able to keep going. You can't let that get to you, and that's something else that you don't realize that dance does for you.
Yeah.
It makes you so much stronger and so much better, you know, to deal with, you know, when things don't go your way.
Yeah.
Which happens
100%.
often.
Yes, this happens all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another whole thing with dance team, I think, that just like, it really is character building, and it really like sets you up for, I think, honestly, life, you know, like if you handle it the right way. And I don't know. Yeah. It is mental, you know, and training your dance team, not only physically, but mentally for nationals is like a whole other thing in itself, you know?
Yeah.
And as a coach, it's hard because you want to be positive with your kids, so that you know, you want to always be like, you guys are great, you're doing so good, but at the same time, you can't do that. Because how is anybody going to improve if they think they're great?
Exactly.
Like, you have to be honest with them and be like, no, that's not good. That's not good enough. You guys, you could do so much better. If you don't push them, they're not going to push themselves. They're too young. You know, they need that extra push. And, you know, parents don't always understand that. They don't always understand that, you know, they're like, oh, the teacher's so mean, or she's, you know, she picks and stuff. But I tell my kids, if I'm calling on you, or somebody else on the team is saying, hey, you did this wrong, it's only to make you better.
Exactly.
And no moment is it trying to make you worse. You want everybody looking good as a coach. You
Exactly.
want, you know, the best dancer. You want to pull the best out of each kid. So you're going to push them beyond what they think that they could do. And you'd be surprised that when you do that for kids, how much better they could do.
Oh, yeah.
Because then they see that there's no limits for them. They think, okay, well, she thinks I could do it, then I probably could. And yeah, they're going to find a way of doing it. Yeah. So I think that's another thing that people don't realize that happens in dance, and that, you know, we as coaches, the teachers, choreographers, you're doing everything possible to make that kid better.
Exactly.
To do more, not bring them down.
No, it's not personal.
At all.
It's not personal. And that's why I tell people too, like if they get upset or something, I'm like, you guys, it's not personal. I'm not giving you a correction to like beat you down. Yeah, it's to build you up, and it's to make you more confident in yourself, and it's to make, you know, just the whole entire team just like get a step, you know, level up.
Yeah.
And it's not a personal thing. And I feel like when dancers can learn that, like I definitely don't Like, I feel like I became a good dancer because I was hard on myself and other people were hard on me. Like, it wasn't, you know, and when people were honest with me, like, that wasn't good. You could do better, you know?
And there's a time to be nice. Like, there's a time, like, I always say, once they finish competing, it happened. There's no way, there's no need to be negative. It's always like, did I do good? You did great. You were amazing. So
I didn't
proud
even
of
see
you.
that mistake.
No.
They'll come off stage crying and they're
There's
like,
nothing you could do.
it was
And
fine.
really,
Nobody noticed.
And really, at that moment, everything possible is done. You put it on them. They hit it on the dance floor. They don't. Okay, well, we move on.
Right.
Those teachers that are so negative when the kids come off and they're like, oh, don't talk to me. Oh. Or the kids are scared to go up to the teacher because the teacher's going to be mad.
Right.
That's where you're killing the kids' spirit.
Right.
That's where you're hurting them, and that's where they're not growing. And I think
Right.
as teachers, we need to be understanding about it happened.
Right.
Like, we move on. You could use it as a lesson later on, you know, later on when you're, okay, now we're cleaning the dance. Okay, when we were on the stage, guys, remember this happened. Okay, we can't let that happen again.
Right.
But that's not the moment.
No.
Yeah. And you want to be both hard on them but also supportive. So
Exactly.
things like when they mess up, they come off stage, they might be crying.
Right.
And they will be super hard on themselves, especially because it's a team. It's not just on them. They feel they've let down their team, but you also want to be that shoulder that they could cry on.
Right.
When they're upset, they come to you, you know, crying and wanting to be comforted by you and having that reassurance from you. And I feel like a lot of times it is that they feel afraid.
After, because they're already thinking it. So, like, after
Yeah.
they perform, like, you don't need to say that. You know what I mean? There definitely is a time and place,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and I think that in the studio when you're rehearsing, that's
Yes,
the time to like
that's the
be
time.
on them and,
Yes.
and tell them do better, more, whatever. But once they finish up, they performed.
Right.
We're happy. I mean, they're gonna know when the scores come out. They're gonna know when they get their award, whatever it is. They're gonna feel it at that moment. There's no need for you as a coach or teacher to do that. So,
No.
that's something that, you know, I really hope that teachers and coaches really focus on and think about, because in the studio, that's the moment. Afterwards, you've got to be their buddy. You've got to be like, you know, their support. You've got to be the one that they come to and they're upset. You're like, no, you were great. And that, you know, they trust that they're happy. They walk away and they're like, okay, I'm proud of myself, and that's what you want. At the end of the day,
Right.
you want them to be proud.
Right.
So one of the biggest things that we want, the message that we really want to get across to everybody that's watching our show, is how you win both in dance and in life. So what are some things that you feel like dance has taught you outside of being a dancer?
Wow. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of little things, like little like time management things that I've learned, and discipline. But also kind of what I was saying earlier, that, you know, life is not, and dance is not one way. It's not, at least for my life, it's not one path. Like, just because you thought that when you were younger you were going to go this way, or there was going to be a certain time that you were going to get this done or this accomplished, does not mean that it's not going to happen for you, or that it's not going to work out for you. I think that's what dance taught me, because when I was younger, I thought I would get A, B, and C accomplished by the time I was 23 or something like that, or I was going to go this one route. And I learned to adapt and navigate and still push through. Like, when I was younger and I was trying to get a skill, or I was trying to accomplish something and it didn't happen for me right away, you push through, you persevere, you keep working at it. Maybe it's not going to happen tomorrow or a year from now or 5 years from now, but if you keep working on it, maybe you have to go a different route to get it. Eventually, if you keep going, like, you will get to where you want to be or where you're supposed to be in dance. And then in life, that helped me too, like just little things about where I've lived or my journey, or when I'm, you know, just different life accomplishments that I wanted to have. You know, I thought I would be married or this at a certain age, and then I've learned that, like, what's supposed to happen to me will happen when it's time, you know, and that if something doesn't go your way, that doesn't mean you just give up or just stop. You know, you persevere, you work hard, you adapt to the situations, you stay positive, whatever it is in your life that you do. I mean, I pray and I, you know, pray to God about different things that happen that don't go my way, and you will be successful and you will get to where you want to be and where you're supposed to be. Definitely dance has taught me that, for sure, since a very young age. You know, you can't give up. And if you give up in dance over a stupid little, I don't even know, kick or turn, like, how are you going to get through life? Because life does not always happen your way, you know?
Yeah, and I think that dance really does that. It really, if you give up in dance, you know, you give up immediately, then, yeah, this is not for you, move on. But you really learn in dance, like, okay,
Yeah.
I fell, I'm going to get right back up.
Right.
And that's such a great thing to have in
Yeah.
life, because you're going to get knocked down throughout life.
I know.
And dance has a lot of rejection to it sometimes too.
If someone tells you no, or someone says that you didn't get a job, or you didn't get acknowledged in class, or you didn't get something that you wanted, or you didn't make a team, you know, like in dance, if you just, the first time you say no, if you're just done, like I would never have made it on ASU if I would have just like given up anytime I said no. I would not even be choreographing now if I just gave up the first time someone said no to me, or said, you know, you're not that great. Like, so many people have used to say that to me, to my face. They'd be like, oh, I've heard about you, but you're not that great. I remember people told me that all the time.
Oh my God.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
People were so mean. People are mean.
People are mean.
People are mean.
And I feel like dance teaches you how to want to fight back.
Oh, yeah.
How to want to prove people wrong.
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, when she was little, I would always tell her, when she would go to conventions and she was, you know, she was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. When she was little, I would always tell her, you walk in like you're the best one in the room. You are better than anybody else in this room, even if you have no idea. And she really had that image. She would walk in and she thought that she was great, and she would, you know.
Yeah.
And
Listen, you manifest it,
Yeah.
all right? You manifest
and
it.
she would do competition. I remember one time they all like did.
It was my
really bad.
very first competition.
And she got like silver. It was like, and she pulled, like, she was on the stage
And-
like this, and she was so excited with her little. And I'm like, oh, she only knew.
And everyone around me, I think everybody on my team
Yeah.
had the same, like, got the same thing. Like, we all got like silver. I don't think anybody got
Everybody
bronze.
was upset.
Everybody was sad, and I was just like,
She was so happy because she was just.
good.
I always taught her, like, you know, you're the best one. You're great and stuff. You know, she would do her solo, and I'd be like, and then she'd be out there, and no, it was great. It was great because, you know, you've got to build that positive, and I think that dance kind of does that to you. You walk in and you have to have that persona of like, I'm great, because you're standing in a room with 500 kids.
you have
If
to be
you
a
don't
show off.
believe it,
Right.
yeah, they're definitely not going to believe it. They're not
No.
going to, you know.
No.
You have to be so confident in yourself, and that's something that you need to like put in your head from day one. Doesn't matter how many people say no, I'm gonna come back because I'm good, because I'm great, because I'm amazing, because of whatever.
And you know what? I feel like it's a little sad sometimes, because I feel like especially non-dancers look at dance and they think like, you know, these kids, you know, people talk so lowly to them, or they, you know, they have to feel rejection at such a young age. And I feel like that has taught me a lot.
Oh, me too.
Like, to the point where, you know, I get told no to something, and it's like, okay, all right, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Or like somebody will give me criticism, and I'll be like, okay, I'll take it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that dance sometimes has a very negative connotation to it, and people look at it from the outside and think, you know, dancers, that they, you know, have all of these negative things to them. But really, I feel like we come out of, in the end, a lot stronger than most people think.
100%.
And bottom line, anything that you do, there is that fear of rejection.
Right.
Doesn't matter what you're going to do. There is that fear because it's going to happen, and you know you're going to be rejected. But I really feel like in dance, you're taught to, you're rejected. Okay, let's go again, because you're constantly going to another convention. You're going to another competition. You're trying out for something else. So it's a constant, you know, having to like prove yourself.
Yes.
And you realize that, okay, I could do it. At some point, you're going to be able to do it.
Right.
You know, if you stick with it, it will happen.
And it just makes, when it does finally happen, so much more rewarding.
I know. And I remember too, like, I'm just like getting flashbacks when I was younger, like, you know, and you guys probably do this for your dancers, like, just because, so they're doing a dance, just because they don't hit something perfect doesn't mean they just stop and it's over. Like, you keep going, you adjust, you
get back into it.
You get back into it. And I think that's another thing that, you know, you can take in life, because it's something, if your day isn't going perfect, doesn't mean you just stop your whole day and go home and be like, I'm not doing this today, you know, like you just keep going and you keep pushing.
And you also learn that you've got good days and bad days. You know, like as a dancer, you go one day, you're like the turner of the day. Like you turn every single turn, you hit everything. And the next day, you can't even do a single.
Oh, for sure.
You fall out of everything. That you have bad days.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody. And you say it to yourself. You're like, okay, today's not my day. It's not my day. And you, at a young age, you're saying that. Yeah. And tomorrow I'll be better. And the next day you hit it and you're like, you see, I could do it. So, I think there's so much, you know, so much there that you don't even realize that. And on a daily basis, that we're giving as coaches and as teachers to the kids that they don't even realize they're getting these life lessons without being told this is a life lesson.
Right.
It's just, it happens naturally.
Right.
So.
And I think parents too, like that are having young kids in dance, like I feel like something that my mom did actually, and like I'm sure you did too, it sounds like you did, is like, yes, obviously dancing was so important to me, and like trying to be my best was so important to me at dance, but at the same time, like dance was not, like my mom taught me, like dance is not my self-worth. Like I'm not as good as like how I place today. So like if I place second, that didn't mean like that was just as you know, how good I was as a person. Like yes, I love to dance. Yes, it was a big thing to me, but like it's not my self-worth.
No,
self-worth,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And I think that parents, there's some parents that they get too involved in their kids' dance life, and that makes the kid feel that way.
I know.
I know when my mom's gonna be so upset, my parents are gonna be so upset, and you know, parents have to know how to step back and let the kids breathe a little bit.
Allow them
know
to
that,
fail.
Yeah, they need to fail every once in a while and be okay with it and be like, I'm fine, it's fine.
Yes.
Let's go on again. So, yeah,
Because that's really what teaches them how to get back up.
Exactly. And I see some parents like that, and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel so bad for that kid, because either she's gonna snap out of it and be okay, or she's gonna have that same mentality for the rest of her life.
Yeah,
you know.
for sure. Thank you so much, Kaitlyn, for joining us today.
Yes.
We hopefully will have you back.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is amazing. I'm just like so excited to hear the rest of your all's episodes, and I've always like heard about you guys, and Coral Reef is just, and Lord's just amazing, and I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, and we love having you on coming to the team. So we're both very
you.
lucky to have you working with our team. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
And for our listeners, we hope that you will join us for our next episode next week.
And if you have any questions or suggestions on things that you want to hear on our show, tap on the Instagram link on our profile and fill out the Google form.
And make sure you subscribe and follow us on YouTube.
Thank you for showing off with us today, and we'll see you later.
Night.